In the tranquil gardens of Jetavana, the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, surrounded by eager disciples. His serene voice filled the air, carrying wisdom that pierced through the veil of ignorance. "Disciples," he began, "illness does not only afflict the body but also the mind and spirit. Today, let me tell you a story about the illness of ignorance and its cure through truth." Among the gathering was a merchant named Govinda, who had traveled far, seeking guidance for his unrested heart. The Buddha's gaze rested on him as he spoke. In a distant village, there lived a man named Jeta, whose desires consumed his every waking thought. Govinda listened intently, feeling the weight of the Buddha's words resonate with his own turmoil. Jeta worked tirelessly, amassing wealth and possessions, believing they would bring him happiness and fulfillment. The Buddha's eyes closed momentarily, as if recalling the essence of Jeta's struggle. But the more he gained, the deeper his dissatisfaction grew. As if drinking salt water to quench thirst, the disciples murmured softly, their eyes fixed on the Buddha, absorbing every word of his parable. Jeta's ignorance blinded him, chaining him to a ceaseless cycle of desire and suffering. Govinda's hands trembled slightly, and his voice broke the stillness. "Master, how did Jeta find liberation from this endless torment?" The Buddha smiled gently, nodding at Govinda's courage to speak. One day, Jeta encountered a traveler who spoke of the Dharma, the truth that liberates and illuminates the path. The Buddha continued, his tone unwavering and filled with clarity. The traveler taught Jeta the Four Noble Truths, the compass to navigate the storms of existence. He learned that life is suffering, that desire and ignorance are its roots, and that liberation arises from the cessation of craving. The disciples leaned closer, their breaths almost synchronized, as if the story had intertwined their spirits. With newfound understanding, Jeta began practicing mindfulness, observing the impermanent nature of his thoughts and desires. The Buddha's voice softened, yet it carried the strength of profound certainty. Through right understanding, intention, and action, he began to untangle the knots that bound his soul. Govinda's eyes glistened with tears, feeling the echoes of Jeta's journey within his own heart. The Buddha turned his attention fully to Govinda, his gaze imbued with compassion. "Govinda, the illness of ignorance afflicts us all, leading to suffering and despair. But wisdom is the medicine that heals." Govinda bowed deeply, his forehead touching the earth. As the garden filled with a reverent silence, the Buddha extended his hand, raising Govinda gently. "Begin with right view, understanding the truth of suffering, and walk the Eightfold Path with mindfulness and resolve." The disciples absorbed the gravity of the lesson, their hearts ignited by the transformative power of the Buddha's words. The wind rustled through the Bodhi leaves, as if nature itself bore witness to the unfolding of wisdom. The Buddha's voice rose once more, clear and unwavering. "Ignorance is the veil that shrouds the light of truth. Tear it apart with the sword of understanding." The tranquil stillness of Jetavana was punctuated by the cries of a nearby child, drawing the Buddha's attention. His face softened, and he motioned for a mother and her child to approach. The mother, her face etched with worry, cradled the frail child tightly. "Master," she pleaded, "my son suffers greatly. How can I relieve his pain?" The Buddha regarded the child with compassion, his presence exuding an unshakable calm. "All suffering arises from clinging, whether to life, possessions, or expectations. We must first understand its cause to alleviate it." The mother's eyes filled with hope, and she clung to the Buddha's words as if they were lifelines in a turbulent sea. "The path begins." With recognition, the Buddha continued, addressing not only the mother but all those present. "See the suffering as it is, and do not turn away, for denial only strengthens its grip." The mother nodded, holding her child closer, as the Buddha's words resonated deeply within her being. Your love for your child is pure, but let it not be tainted by fear and attachment." The mother wept openly, her tears falling upon the child's frail hands. As the Buddha's voice grew softer, "Compassion without attachment leads to liberation. Hold your child with love, but also with wisdom and understanding." The child stirred slightly, his small hand reaching out as if drawn to the Buddha's gentle presence. The disciples watched in awe as the Buddha's teachings transcended the boundaries of words, taking root in the hearts of all who listened. "Disciples," the Buddha concluded, his gaze sweeping across the gathering, "do not be afraid to confront suffering, for in doing so, you will uncover the truth." Govinda felt a profound shift within him, a stirring of clarity and purpose he had not known before. The mother, too, found solace in the Buddha's compassion, her heart beginning to release the chains of fear. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over Jetavana. As the Buddha's words continued to reverberate, the garden became a sanctuary of transformation, each soul touched by the timeless wisdom of the Buddha's teachings. The Bodhi leaves whispered secrets of liberation as the disciples rose, their spirits renewed. In the stillness of the night, the truth of the Buddha's words illuminated the darkness within, guiding them toward the light of understanding. Another day, another gathering in the serene gardens of Jetavana, where the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree in quiet meditation. The disciples assembled around him, their hearts eager to absorb the profound teachings. The air carried a soothing fragrance, mingling with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant bird songs. The Buddha's serene gaze swept across the assembly, his voice resonant and calm. "Today, I shall speak of compassion, the medicine that heals the wounds of the soul and liberates the heart." Among the disciples was a young woman named Kisa Gotami, her face etched with sorrow and longing for answers. The Buddha turned to her, his expression gentle yet knowing. "Kisa Gotami, your grief weighs heavily upon you, and your heart yearns for solace. Tell me of your pain." She stepped forward, tears streaming down her face, clutching a small bundle wrapped in cloth. "Master," she wept, "I have lost my son, and my heart cannot bear the ache of his absence." The Buddha's gaze softened further, his voice carrying compassion and understanding. "Kisa Gotami, suffering touches all beings, yet compassion allows us to transcend its grasp and find healing." The disciples listened intently, their spirits moved by the profound weight of the words spoken. The Buddha continued, his voice unwavering. "Long ago, in the village of Vasali, there lived a widow named Sujata who had lost her child to illness." His words painted the image of Sujata's grief, her days consumed by tears and nights haunted by sorrow. Sujata withdrew from the world, her pain creating an impenetrable barrier between her and others. The disciples exchanged glances, their faces reflecting empathy for the tale unfolding before them. "One day, Sujata encountered me in the village square, her eyes pleading for a remedy to her unbearable anguish." The Buddha paused, allowing the echoes of his voice to settle among his listeners. "I offered her a task, asking her to find a mustard seed from a household untouched by loss." The disciples leaned closer, captivated by the profundity of the story. Sujata ventured door to door, her determination fueled by hope. Yet each household she visited shared its own tale of grief. The Buddha's tone softened, his words imbued with profound compassion. "She returned to me, empty-handed yet transformed, her heart open to the shared suffering of all beings." The disciples nodded in silent agreement, their hearts stirred by the depth of Sujata's realization. "Kisa Gotami," the Buddha said, turning his attention back to her, "compassion is the medicine that heals, even in the face of unbearable loss." Kisa clutched the bundle tighter, her trembling hands beginning to release their grip. "Your suffering connects you to others, For loss and love are threads that weave humanity together. The Buddha's gaze swept across the gathering, his words carried by the gentle breeze. Disciples, compassion binds us to one another and liberates us from the chains of isolation and despair. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts filled with gratitude for the wisdom imparted. Kisa Gotami, too, knelt before the Buddha, her tears now mingled with the seeds of healing. The tranquil gardens of Jetavana radiated peace, as the disciples absorbed the teachings and prepared to carry them into the world. The Buddha's voice rose once more, resonating through the sacred space. Extend kindness to others, and in doing so, you shall find solace and strength within yourselves. The gathering dissolved into quiet contemplation, the disciples finding their own reflections within the mirror of compassion. Kisa Gotami, holding the bundle, felt her heart lighten as the teachings began to heal her soul. The sun sank below the horizon, its golden glow casting an ethereal light across Jetavana. In the stillness of the night, the Buddha's words lingered, their echoes a balm for the wounds of grief and suffering. The disciples rose, their spirits uplifted, and the Bodhi leaves whispered the eternal truth of compassion. Each step they took carried the transformative power of the Buddha's teachings, guiding them toward the path of healing and liberation. Another day, another gathering in the gardens of Jetavana, where the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree in quiet contemplation. The disciples assembled around him, their hearts eager to hear his teachings on the path to liberation. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting golden patterns on the ground, and the air was filled with serenity. The Buddha's gaze swept across the assembly, his voice steady and clear. Today, I shall speak of the journey to liberation, the path that frees us from the cycle of suffering. Among the disciples was a farmer named Nanda, whose face showed the burden of toil and the yearning for peace. The Buddha turned to Nanda, his expression gentle yet full of insight. Nanda, your spirit seeks liberation, yet your heart carries the weight of worldly attachments. Tell me of your struggles. Nanda stepped forward, his voice trembling with sincerity. Master, my work consumes me, and my desires bind me to the hardships of this life. The Buddha nodded, his gaze filled with compassion. Nanda, the path to liberation begins with understanding the impermanence of all things and the illusion of attachment. The disciples listened intently, their minds focused on the profound teachings unfolding before them. Long ago, in the kingdom of Kapilavastu, there lived a prince named Siddhartha, whose journey reveals the essence of liberation. The Buddha's voice carried the weight of his own experience, his tone imbued with clarity and purpose. Siddhartha renounced his royal life, leaving behind his wealth and family to seek the truth of existence and suffering. Nanda's eyes widened, his heart stirred by the courage and resolve of the prince's story. He wandered the wilderness, facing trials and temptations, yet his determination to uncover the truth remained unwavering. The disciples exchanged glances, their faces reflecting awe and reverence for Siddhartha's journey. Under the Bodhi tree, Siddhartha attained enlightenment, realizing the impermanence of all things and the interconnectedness of all beings. The Buddha paused, allowing the significance of the moment to settle among his listeners. Siddhartha became the Buddha, and his teachings illuminate the path to liberation. Nanda bowed deeply, his spirit inspired by the Buddha's words, and his voice carried newfound determination. Master, how can I walk this path and free myself from the chains that bind my soul? The Buddha smiled gently, nodding at Nanda's courage to seek answers. Begin with the Eightfold Path, embracing right view, right intention, and right mindfulness as your guide. The disciples leaned closer, their breaths synchronized as if the teachings had woven their spirits into a single thread. The Eightfold Path is the compass that guides us through the storms of ignorance and leads us to the shore of liberation. The Buddha's voice softened yet carried the strength of profound certainty. Walk this path with humility and resolve, and you shall uncover the truth within yourself. Nanda's heart swelled with gratitude. Feeling the light of understanding begin to shine within his soul, the Buddha turned his gaze to the entire gathering, his voice resonating with purpose. Disciples, the path to liberation is not easy, but it is the most rewarding journey you will ever undertake. The tranquil gardens of Jetavana became a sanctuary of wisdom, each soul touched by the transformative power of the Buddha's teachings. The Bodhi leaves rustled gently, as if nature itself bore witness to the unfolding of truth. The Buddha's voice rose once more, clear and unwavering. Liberation lies within each of you, waiting to be discovered through mindfulness, wisdom, and compassionate action. The disciples bowed deeply, their hearts filled with gratitude and resolve to embark on the journey to liberation. Nanda, too, knelt before the Buddha, his spirit renewed by the timeless wisdom imparted to him. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over Jetavana, as the Buddha's teachings continued to reverberate in the stillness of the night. The truth of the Buddha's words illuminated the darkness within, guiding the disciples toward the light of understanding. The garden became a sanctuary of transformation, each step carrying the seeds of liberation and the promise of freedom. The Bodhi leaves whispered secrets of the Eightfold Path as the disciples rose, their hearts committed to the pursuit of truth. The morning sun illuminated the village, its golden rays revealing the bustling energy of a community united by shared purpose. Danush helped carry water to the fields, repair roofs, and teach children, each act deepening his bond with the villagers. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.